Hey, I'm Melissa. Have you ever been sure something happened a certain way, but then a person in your life tried to convince you that you remembered it wrong, or that it didn't happen at all? This is a harmful manipulation technique called gaslighting, and it can cause immeasurable amounts of damage to a person's mental state. Today, let's talk about what gaslighting is, how to recognize the signs, and how to separate the truth from the lies. Gaslighting is a term used to describe the act of causing a person to doubt their sanity through the use of psychological manipulation. The term comes from the 1944 film Gaslight and the 1938 play of the same name. The story follows a woman's slow spiral into isolation and paranoia as her husband repeatedly denies the validity of the strange things she witnesses, including the unexplained dimming of the gas-powered lamps. He either blames her for these happenings or makes her believe she imagined them. In the end, her husband's nefarious purposes are exposed, and he's revealed as the source of chaos. There are three core facets of gaslighting. 1. Make the victim believe they're at fault for any abuse they suffer. 2. Make the victim believe they've imagined their experiences. 3. Isolate the victim from a trustworthy, supportive community. Gaslighting has been around a whole lot longer than a 1930s stage play. In Genesis 3, Satan uses this manipulation technique to confuse and deceive Eve in the Garden of Eden. Instead of outright telling Eve that God was a liar, he instead asked, "Did God actually say you shall not eat of any tree in the garden?" This is the first example of gaslighting in history. A gaslighting environment slowly whittles away the victim's trust in their own perceptions of reality. They begin to distrust their own rationale, instead leaning on the abuser to tell them what's real and not real. As the abuser continues to define a false reality for them, the victim has more and more trouble living independently from the abuser. They've unknowingly learned to trust the abuser instead of their own mental capacity and judgment. Not every person who gaslights realizes what they're doing. Some may unintentionally abuse others out of fear or desperation for control. Some may have convinced themselves so thoroughly of their own false reality that they don't realize that they're projecting a lie onto a healthy person. Others use gaslighting to purposely control and dominate people. Gaslighting has even been normalized in some places like the dating world. Regardless of motive, method, or intentionality, gaslighting is rooted to a need to control another person. This is a sinful and abusive behavior, not the attitude of love we are called to exercise as Christians. Whether you're the gaslighter or a victim of gaslighting, your story isn't over. Talk to others about your experiences. Seek a safer environment in your community. Pursue counseling to process your emotions. God redeems and renews us. Whether you're fighting the battle to love deeper and more biblically, or you're recovering from years of abuse, God's passion and love for you cannot be overstated. We hope we've helped you understand what gaslighting is and how to recognize if it's happening in your own life. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. We answer questions like this every day, so visit 412teens.org to ask your own spiritual questions.